But I do want to talk about Bethenny Frankel. Let's talk about Bethenny Frankel. So, as you know, Bethenny Frankel left the Real Housewives of New York a couple of years ago at this point, more than a couple of years at this point. And she's revealing exactly what was the incident that made her decide not to come back. Because based on what she's saying, it looks like she was ready to come back for a new season. But because this new stipulation in her contract, which we've talked about, and she just confirmed for us that if you're not in an episode, if you refuse to film, you're not going to get paid. Let me share my screen. Look, let me share my screen. This is what Bethenny said.
Housewives story is that people thought that I left the Housewives because of money. If I had stayed, it would have been because of the money. I left because I wanted to leave. I was ready to leave, and I used a technicality deal point as my excuse. I had just lost someone very close to me, and I went to work when the show came back. I didn't want to. Pros play hurt. I'm a professional. I show up on time. I deliver. That's my reputation in business. So there was a new point, and this new deal term was because of housewives in different cities who just decided not to film because they didn't like other people, because they were at odds. So they decided not to film. So it affects the quality of the show. So this became something where they had to add this into all contracts, just like the Bethenny clause named after me. This new point said that if you don't appear in an episode, then you won't be paid for it, which does make sense. It just doesn't make sense for me because I already knew that the production company said we'd never air an episode without you. They told me that directly. I have receipts. And I already knew that I'm a professional and there would just be no situation where I wouldn't show up for work. But sometimes these little things, if you're thinking of leaving and you don't want to be there, I'm the type of person that one thing will give me an excuse. So I said no. And the reason for that term was housewives in other cities who weren't filming. They just decided not to film. And that was just my excuse. And then the powers that be said we would have changed it, etc. But every little thing matters. And, I don't bluff. And I just was looking for a reason, and that was a good reason. That's a little business's personal nugget about the fact that I knew that I had showed up for work every single day when I experienced a tremendous loss. So obviously I'm going to show up for work every day under any circumstance. There can be no more extreme circumstance than that. The little tiny minute detail that would have never come to pass, it was the impetus. That was the catalyst that just said, boom, not going back.
So technically, we could have had another season with Bethenny Frankel. Well, I know a lot of you are probably going to say, why is she talking about the Real Housewives of New York? She's no longer on it. Well, first of all, it was a big part of her life. It was a big part of her life. But she also has a new book out, Business is Personal. She's not paying me, but she should. Bethenny. No. So it makes sense. She's correlating what she's talking about in this new book. And basically, she confirmed the Bethenny clause. The Bethenny clause meaning that if you bring a product on the show, Bravo, NBC Universal gets a portion. She confirmed that for us. Because remember, when she brought Skinny Girl on, they didn't get that portion. And that's $1 million company. They're still kicking themselves. Because these other housewives, yes, they have decent products, but they're not bringing in what the Bethenny Skinny Girl's bringing in. So she's confirming that, but she's also confirming the reason why she decided not to return to the Real Housewives of New York. And she says she would have filmed regardless. She filmed the previous season when she was going through Dennis Shields passing. And they were like, well, we would have. See, this is what happens when you guys this is what happens in negotiations. And this is, Bethenny, hear me. Whatever you did on that HBO reality show, that's not the Bethenny that we want. We don't need you to pretending to be a boss. We need you to just be yourself. That's why the daytime talk show didn't work. That's why the reality TV show on HBO Max didn't work. You are great reality TV. You could produce reality TV yourself, about yourself, following you in the, I don't need you to put on like you're a boss. It comes across so fake and phony. And that's why the HBO Max show didn't work. We just need you in your natural element, maybe with a cast of other women that maybe work. I don't know what it is, but I'm telling you, it wasn't authentic on the HBO Max show. Big shot with Bethenny. And it wasn't natural on the daytime talk show. She's got to find her thing because reality TV is her thing. People still love Bethenny's commentary, but she's also very smart when it comes to business. She's very smart when it comes to business. What she just explained to us, a lot of people can take some notes from that. She put her foot down, and it's probably the best thing that she ever did for herself. And look, because she knows her worth, all right, everyone can learn from this. Because she knows her worth, she was like, no, that's not going to work for me. Bye. And they were like, if we had known, we would have made adjustments. Because she also reveals that they were not going to air an episode of Real Housewives of New York without Bethenny. So even if Bethenny did not film that day or that week, if she had been missing for weeks, they would have figured out a way to implement Bethenny in every single episode of The Real Housewives of New York. And she says she has the receipts. I need Bethenny to figure out what that thing is when it comes to reality TV that will work for her. That competition show didn't work. The daytime talk show didn't work. But I don't think that is the realm that she needs to go. She could have did a really good job with that HBO Max show. I just felt like she was putting on too much. She tried to come across as a boss. And I know that you naturally are a boss, Bethenny, but it came across fake and phony. We just need you to have fun. We need you to see what you do every day. You've been a part of reality TV, so you know how it works and you know what works. But that just did not come across on The Big Shot. But I need Bethenny Frankel back on my screens, and it doesn't need to be Bravo, Bethenny. You're bigger than Bravo at this point. Just saying. Maybe another thing with HBO. You have a relationship with them. I don't know if they're closed the door. Hopefully not. She's great just naturally. Even in that moment, just naturally, I'm like, Bethenny, this is what we need. But you know what it is? Bethenny wants to be the producer of it. Bethenny, you need to link up with someone that understands. No, and not Carlos King. Carlos King is not the only person that produces reality TV. I already reading y'all thoughts. He's not the only person. And Andy's not the only person that produces reality TV. There are plenty of up and coming. I'm always telling you guys, stop sleeping on up and coming talent. No, I'm not going to produce her show. I'm joking because all of you always say that. Kempire, you should produce it. Bethenny, we need the natural Bethenny. Maybe, because I know a lot of people like your podcast. Maybe we need to do a visual version of the podcast. I don't know. But I want to see Bethenny back on our TV screens. I do want to see her. But I also know she's busy saving the world. But she could do both. She did both before. Bethenny. So we found out the real reason why Bethenny did not return to the Real Housewives of New York. It wasn't because she was like, oh, I'm not coming back for another season just because I'm over this. She was about to come back, and she basically says this new clause because of other housewives in other cities were saying that, oh, hell no, I'm not going to film. Which housewives do you guys think? Let's talk about that. Which housewives do you think were refusing to film? I mean, there were quite a few of them that were refusing to film over the years. Just saying. So Bravo has been changing up the contracts over the years because of these situations, because they've been losing out on money. And they're also not paying their housewives like they used to either. So they're expecting a lot, but not giving a lot. Miss Brooklyn Diamond, I agree. Beverly Hills. I thought of Beverly Hills immediately. I thought LVP. I thought LVP.